Nice meeting you. Welcome to Lifestyle Change.
This lifestyle change, you were swinging up and stuff.
I'm trying to catch up here.
I'm trying to catch up. What's going on, man? How you doing?
It's been a while. How you doing?
It has been a while. You guys have abandoned me.
Yeah.
Everybody kicked me to the curb.
Everybody trying to run this race.
I'm mad that they make me pay for the mountain.
Well, not the, it's over. Not the,
No, I have, but for the
yeah.
ticketing.
You shocked?
I have, when I'm running, and I'm in good shape, and I'm running I think that I'm going to run a pool. But my body hurts so bad I'm going to run a half. It's ridiculous.
Like, Thanksgiving Day, I slept at 8 I took an ice bath when I got home. Took a nap. Well, I ate and took an ice bath, ate and went to sleep. Woke up, ate, and back to sleep. And then it was hot. Thanksgiving.
That's true. The time that I ran was Thanksgiving, it was cold. So it was fine.
Matter of fact, the 10 mile was not downtown.
I was going to say that I got the t-shirt for it. I said I won an entry for it. I went and got my little drop fit shirt. And it's just like, yeah, I'm not running it.
No, ma'am. Either way, whatever they decide to do with it, it's on their side. Yes. 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 Yeah. I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get on the concept
This is a 15. When? And all I'm getting is a phone secretary. That is
all right. We have an appointment at 2 o'clock, and it is
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Well, I'm Trey Cooper. I'm a realtor here. So happy to be here. And I'm here to honor Regina, who's been at this market center for so long, and I'm just happy to be here to support her. Regina, do you want to come over and say a few things before we start?
I do, absolutely. So can I just say hello, 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 and one more hello. Hello. Wait a minute. We all came to learn today, right?
Yeah.
One thing at least, would you say? At least one thing? All right. And so, do you think that Mr. Cooper will receive you if you receive him a little differently?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to try this again. All right, so I'm going to say hello, 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 and hello.
Hello.
All right. Now, our lender partner is right behind us, and I love it when they can't do their work because they're disturbed by the activity that's going on in our room. Because we know how you show up in here, you're going to show up out there. We all agree.
Yes.
And so right now, we're going to give him the floor. This man is those people that know me know I'm crying. I'm a little crybaby. And with this being my last week in this market center, I am honored that he would say, whatever you want from me, I will do. See, because that's what relationships are all about, right? Yes. Aren't we in a relational business?
Yes.
Right. Your people, you want them to call you even when you don't feel like calling them. And yet, you are who you want them to be to you. That means you got to pick up the phone. That means you got to call them. That means you got to love on them and be relational. So whenever there's a need for real estate, they call you. And this is who Trey is to me. Trey and I met at one of the bowl classes a couple of years back. And energy is attracted to energy, would you say? And so our energy collided, and he and I have been inseparable since then. And so I want you guys to take it all in, write plenty of notes, because what he's going to give you, if you're serious about your real estate business, I'm expecting on Facebook, because before I leave, everybody in this room is going to connect with me. And then I'm expecting your success by way of Facebook. Because I noticed that Trey had 5 closings in, what was it, Trey? 14 days? 5 closings in 14 days? That's something to celebrate, right? Yeah. We every month.
Yes.
All I need to say, I want to make $100,000 straight out the back. I mean, they just got their license, and the very first thing is I want to make $100,000. And so he's going to show you today how to make that happen. Okay? So without any further ado, Trey Cooper.
Well, I want everybody to know it's an absolute honor and a pleasure to be here. And I have recently started teaching a lot more this year. And the reason that I started to teach more is because I consider myself the ultimate student within real estate. And I kept saying to people that outsell me teaching. And I was like, why are y'all teaching so much? And they said the ultimate form of learning is teaching. Shortly after that, I started teaching. So, you know, just like a quarterback is a leader of the football team, but he's a football player, I'm teaching, but I'm here today to get better and stronger just like everybody else in the room. And I'm in. So, a little bit about me. This is my 5th year in real estate. I'm based out of the Keller Williams Sandy Springs Market Center, which is a Rawls Group, like a sister office. From here, last year I took 22 listings. So far this year, I've taken 18 listings. And I was in Bold earlier this year, a couple people in the room. And when I was in Bold this year, our teacher's name was Rob. And Rob, he said, if you want to get their attention, go take 120 listings. And I was like, I'm going to start off with 10. And I was like, I can't do it in 30, but I can do it in 40. And right there at lunch, when I heard him say that, that's when I kind of made the commitment to myself. Like, I think I can do it. I can take 10 listings in 40 days. Because I thought if I'm going to take 120 listings, I got to start off with taking 10 listings in a month. And then I said, well, let me do 40 days instead of 30 days. So that's how it came about. And starting March 1st, I did it. I set a goal to take 10 listings in 40 days, and I took 11. So it was awesome. And then after that, you know, it just naturally kind of turned into a class, and this is now like the 2nd or 3rd time that I'm teaching it. And it also holds me accountable, because if I teach this class, I have to go out there and go on appointments this week, and I have to go out there and take more listings, because everybody sees me doing this. So that's what we're going to do. So to get started for today, what are the things that you all definitely want to make sure are covered?
How to get more listings.
Okay.
What does that mean?
I'd like to know the schedule you stay on to make sure we do everything.
More listings. Okay. Schedule.
Who are you talking to?
What else?
Who are you talking to?
Okay. What else? Okay. What else? One of them is we have an appointment at 2 o'clock, and it is 2 o'clock. That is, and you laugh, but that is a major, because most real estate agents are not on time to the listing appointment. So if you have an appointment, if you can just show up on time and be well dressed, you are 30 or 40% ahead of all the competition just by being on time. And you want to show them right there, their first interaction with you is you doing what you're supposed to do. You know, so if you have an appointment at 6 p.m., be there at 6 p.m. and say, hey, we have an appointment at 6 p.m. and it is 6 p.m. So I'm going to talk about a lot of scripts, but that right there is a major script for listings. What else?
Support with the team.
Excuse me?
The support with the team.
Okay. What else?
Where do you get your leads?
Okay. What else?
Do you think the time of year we tend to do the spring, heading into spring makes a difference?
Okay.
The time of year.
Okay. What else?
Like mindset, what are you reading?
Okay. What else?
What's your communication?
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Yes, sir.
How do you turn it off? How do you relax? How do you get away from it?
That is an outstanding question. It's very necessary. Okay.
So I'm guessing when that we can explain when you know it's the time for that, right? When is the time to turn it off, like he's saying?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we have 2 hours here. The first hour, I'm going to kind of go through the top 10 things that you have to do to take 10 listings in 40 days. The whole second half is question and answer, and I will cover a lot of this stuff in the first hour, and anything that I don't, I can promise you I'll address all of this before we leave the room today. Sound like a plan? All right, great. So the very first thing is build mindset. 95% of it is mindset. Like, you have to, if you take them bold, you know, and first of all, bold is coming back.
And everybody in the room is
I don't
signed
sell
up.
bold. I have not been paid to endorse bold, but I have my bold bracelet on today because I wear my bold bracelet every day. Regina has hers on. There we go. Look at all these top producers wearing bold bracelets. Look, if you have not taken bold, you owe it to yourself and to your career to take bold at least 3 times. That starts with taking it once. And I mean, if you just look around the company, most of the people that make over 50 grand have taken bold at least once. Most of the people that make over 100,000 have taken bold 3 or 4 times. Most of the people that are making 300, 400, 500,000 have taken bold like 10 times. There's no coincidence. You know? So you owe it to yourself to invest in your career by taking bold. And furthermore, if you've never taken bold, you really can't even get the most out of these classes and advice from people, because this is the language that people that within Keller Williams, this is the language that we're speaking, and a lot of it is based on the bold principles. And bold, of course, is all about building mindset. But build your mindset to become a stronger listing agent. Your business will grow to the extent that you do. And as it relates to being a better listing agent, if you grow your mindset so that you are capable, you know, it's 95% mindset. So the more you can build yourself and build your mindset, that's going to prepare you in every single way to take listings. You have to focus on the activities that get you listings. You know, we're all different. So the activities that have gotten me listings have been postcards, door knocking, and open houses. I'm a face-to-face kind of person. So I have done, you have to focus on the activities that get you appointments. I'm sorry, did I say listings or did I say appointments? Yeah, so you focus on the activities that get you listing appointments. It's very, very important. So, and if you are focused on appointments and you have the mindset for appointments, you'll notice that you start pulling appointments right at the open house or right in front of people. When I was doing this 10 listings in 40 days, a guy walked up to me and said, "Hey man, I need to lease my house." And I said, "Well, I don't do leases, but I sell and the market is hot. You need to sell it." And he said, "Yeah, I do." I swear, you cannot make this up. That guy walked up to me and asked me, I said, "You don't need to lease it, you need to sell it." And he said, "Yeah, I do." And I took that listing, and it was on the market like a week later. So you have to have the mindset, and then you have to focus on the activities. But if listings are top of mind, like, you'll attract them. Just like you go get them, you'll also attract them. Does that make sense? Focusing on the activities is huge. And I have a MAPS coach, and she like just I would say that for the first quarter of the year, she just like drilled that into me every single call. Focus on activities that bring you listing appointments. Focus on activities that bring you listing appointments. Focus on activities that bring you listing appointments. And it really was, I mean, you gotta think, if you think you can do one open house and get one listing appointment, then if you do 2 open houses, can you get 2 listing appointments? Like, that's the mindset to like get appointments. You gotta be really appointment focused. And so if we go to number 3 right here, people, you know, if I had to sum up the class into one sentence, like how do you take 10 listings? The way you take 10 listings is to go on 15 appointments. I mean, even an agent out of Ignite who's not skilled will take 10 listings if they go on 15 appointments. AJ here, this is the business. If you go on 15, and you will be starting next week, if you go on 15 appointments, next month you will take 10 listings, I promise you. And I've been in the business going on 5 years. If I go on 15 appointments, I'll take 12 listings. It's not that big of a difference. I'm a top producer. She's brand new in the business. The difference in me taking 12 listings and her taking 10 listings is the same amount of appointments. Most sellers do not interview multiple agents. If you get the appointment, there's a 70% chance you'll get the listing. So in that way, you know, if you just focus on getting appointments, you're going to get business. If you get 4 appointments, you'll get 3 listings. Problem. Especially if they're like coming from like your database or like your friends, family. That's what you have to understand. Like your sphere of influence, they're very, very, very warm. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more when you ask me where my business comes from. If you're, I'm from Atlanta, but if you're focused on your database, your friends, family, and past clients, if you get those appointments, you're going to get that business. FISBOs, expires, internet leads, those kind of things, they're harder. But even then, if you get the appointment, it's likely that you'll get the business. So as important as your listing presentation is really even more important the skill sets that you have to attract the appointments. The appointments are very, very important. You definitely want to like qualify your appointments. And I'll talk a little bit more about that, but for the most part, especially if you're trying to learn how to be a better listing agent, you should go on all the appointments. You should look for a reason to go on the appointments, not look for a reason not to. So if people are calling you and they want to meet with you, then you go. And that's why it says right here in number 3, never turn down an appointment, because if nothing else is good practice. You know, I have started almost looking at teaching this class as a listing appointment. You know, but if someone, and keep in mind, listing appointment is a realtor term. The people don't always say, hey, I want to call and schedule a listing appointment. They call and say, hey, Ms. Jordan, can you come by the house tonight around 6? That's called a listing appointment. They aren't going to say, Trey, I want to schedule a listing appointment. They're going to say, I want to know if you can come by the house and tell me what you think about my house. And we call it a listing appointment. That's an internal sales term, in my opinion. But for the most part, most of them just say, hey, can you stop by? Can you come see me? Can you tell me what you think about my house? That kind of thing. And when they say that, I prepare my comps and my presentation, and I show up and I treat it as a formal listing presentation. Value listings. So you have to like value listings a lot. And if you've been here at Keller Williams, then you hopefully are taking bold or have taken bold, and then you also have read the book The One Thing by Gary Keller. And the book The One Thing talks about like, hold on for just a second. Say what? Oh yeah, I'm working. So the book, The One Thing, talks about like what is your one thing? Like, we all operate on the 80-20 principle. You know, that's Pareto's principle. 20% of the things you do bring 80% of your results. 80% of the things you do only bring 20% of your results. So to increase your productivity, you have to first understand what are your 20% activities. What is the highest in use of your time? What are you supposed to be doing? And if you're selling real estate, it's probably lead generating. It's like 99% sure it's lead generating. The generating appointments. But the one thing, you go even further. It's like, what is your top 20%? What is your one thing? Like, what is your one thing that you should be doing that is the highest and best use of your time? And if you read the book and understand the concept, you'll find that taking listings is pretty much your one thing. Does everybody understand what I just said with that? And this is the reason why. So when you look at a buyer and a seller, a surface level is the same thing. You get a $10,000 check from both. But if you sell a house in Neighborhood Amazing as a selling agent representing the buyer, you'll get your $10,000. If you are the listing agent in Neighborhood Amazing, everybody in that whole neighborhood knows who you are. When that house, they don't say that house is listed by Trey and so-and-so sold it. They say Trey listed the house, Trey sold the house. As if it's not even another agent involved. You know? And then so because everybody knows who the listing agent is, the buyers are calling you. Like, I swear, just Saturday, you were there, a buyer called me for my open house. I showed the buyer my house, and I'm probably going to double-side it, and it's probably going to be contract today. That happened because I was the listing agent. Kim was there. She can verify.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so, you know, that kind of thing happens when you're the listing agent. So listings attract more listings. Listings also attract more buyers. Like when Gene Rivers was just here from Jacksonville, and we took Win with Sellers, I think they used to call it Seller Mastery. He said if you have a listing, it should, if you market it correctly, bring you another listing. And it should bring the team one buyer. Just like you taking one listing. So let's be honest, we all know we should lead generate. We also all don't like to lead generate. Well, I'm small. It's a challenge. But if you just have listings, people will call you. And that's the truth. That's why you prioritize listings. And you have to understand that within real estate, having listings is your one thing. Matter of fact, real estate agents do not retire. A real estate agent just becomes old and has 0 listings for over a year, and all of a sudden you're retired. Is that the truth, Virginia?
It's true.
Somebody's like, they're whatever age, they haven't had a listing in over 2 years. They didn't have a party, they're just retired. They haven't had any listings. That's how important listings are. And before, it wasn't really, at first, I can't talk specifically about all the details, but it started off, the seller was represented by a realtor, and the buyer was just like a customer. But it was unfair, and then that's how buyers started having realtors as well. That's how important the listing agent is. Number 6 is go immediately. So, Alex Randall is like a really big agent out of Nashville, Tennessee, and I got this from him. But, you know, so my script usually is if you call me, I'm like, oh yeah, great to speak with, today is Monday. Yeah, so I can be there tomorrow at 2:30, or I can be there on Wednesday at 3. Which works better for you? Great, I'll be there Wednesday at 3. Good. After I talked to him, I started being like, today is Monday. I can be there today at 5, or I can be there tomorrow at 10 a.m. Which works better for you? Perfect. And that's what 50% of them say.
Why?
What?
Why do they generally take that immediate acceptance?
I don't, I was surprised at first as well, but I think it's because people, it's like our whole society is like now, like a microwave society. They want it now, and if they call an agent, they want you at the house in 2 hours.
After all, they want their house, right?
Correct. So, And I mean, I just started doing that like 2 or 3. I started doing that in the middle of the 10 listings, but it was very effective. And you know, other agents in my office would hear me and they'd be like, man, you can go like that? And in my prioritized listings, I'm like, what's more important? What could be more important than me going to take this listing? So I really, like, it's 2:30. I would take a call at 2:30. And only really because traffic is bad between 4 and 6. Would it be later? If it wasn't, I could have done it at 5 or 6. But I would often say it's 2:30. Oh yeah, great to speak with you. I could be there tonight at 7:30, or I could be there tomorrow morning at 12. Which works better for you? Perfect. I'll be there at 7:30. Click. Secure the appointment. And I offer the same day. And I feel like going immediately is important. You have to strike while the iron is hot. If people want to talk to you about real estate, and they have a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $700,000 house to talk to you about, go get the business. Go secure it. You are a salesperson, in my opinion. You are a salesperson. Number 7 is don't oversell. You know, like especially like when I talk to like when agents ask me about my listing presentation, I swear to you, the more experience I get, it feels like the shorter it gets, my listing presentation. And if you get the appointment, it's a 70% chance you'll get the business. I can't tell you how many times I've gone through my whole presentation and they were really waiting on me to shut up so they could ask me one question about the kitchen counter. You know what I'm saying? Look, that's why I say that me teaching this class is super humble, because I'm sitting here telling y'all, exposing myself honestly, like the stuff that I'm going through out there. And so no, I start off with, you know, I have all the paperwork. Obviously, I have a lot of stuff to talk to you about. But what do you want to talk about today? That's how I start my listing presentations now. And a lot of times, sometimes they'll say, "No, go ahead and go through your spiel," and then sometimes it'll just be a conversation, and it's not formal. Especially if like I know them, and a lot of my business is database, my sphere. You know, like Brett, that's my boy. So if he decides to sell his house, I'm not gonna go over to his house and be like, "Hi, I'm Trey Cooper. Glad to meet you. How can I help you?" As my boy, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, thank you for having me. So what you thinking?"
Just wanted you to come over and take a look at things. How's your son?
Awesome. You know, I mean, you just start off with, like, take a deep breath. How can I help you? How can I serve you in real estate today? So, and that's what I'm saying, like, don't oversell yourself. You've got to think about when you go to the doctor's office, do you ever go to the doctor's office and say, "Hey man, before you look at my knee, I just want to know, where did you graduate in your class?" Yeah, you don't do that. You just tell him what's hurting and you trust that he's an expert. And I swear to you, if anybody in here today gets an appointment, they're not asking for your resume as much. If you are qualified, just ask them how you can serve them and do your best to serve them at a high level. You don't have to oversell yourself. Not that I be hanging out at bars, but you know, you go to the bar and you know the person is like 22 years old, they pull out their ID right away, and the bartender's like, "I didn't even ask you for that." And that's kind of how it is when a realtor goes and starts, blah, 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 blah. You don't have to do all that. You're there as a professional. They respect you as a professional. Just serve them. You don't have to oversell yourself. And we're talking about listings, but especially with buyers, you don't. Listings, sellers choose agents, buyers choose homes. Buyers are not realtor loyal. Sellers may be realtor loyal. Buyers are not realtor loyal. So especially when you have buyers, they want to see houses. They don't care that much of who you are, where you're ranked, what you've been doing, what company you're with. It's like, can you get me in this house in 30 minutes or not? And you can't, and I'm gonna talk to my agent. You know, or, I mean, whatever. You know, I'm joking a little bit, but buyers are definitely not realtor loyal. Sellers are realtor loyal. All right, so don't oversell yourself. Number 8, on to appointment to paperwork. Wait, how am I doing so far? Does anybody have any questions? I think I was at number 8, and I said phone to appointment to paperwork, and then leave. But before I move on to number 8, did anybody have any questions about anything that I've said so far?
I had a question. When you were talking about value of listings, can you kind of touch on the prioritized listings, or maybe I missed it?
Yeah, no, I'll be happy to. So, when I was talking about, when you say, like, if somebody wants to meet with you, and you're like, oh, well, I can't, I need to check my email, or I need to do this, or I need to do that, I need to do this. Listings are the most important thing that you do. Listing appointments. A listing appointment is more important than a closing, really. Think about it. It's going to close whether you attend or not. A listing appointment is about the most important thing you can go on in your career. If I'm wrong, tell me what's more important. That's what I mean when I say prioritize listings. So when people want to talk to you about selling their house and you can't get out there for 3 or 4 days, like, what were you doing? You know, like, what could have been more important? And that's why I was saying that when people call me, now I'm like, hey, I can be there at 4 o'clock today, or I can be there at 6:30 today, which works better for you. And of course, when we talk about scripts, that is the script. Whenever you are on the phone, you want to secure the appointment, you always give them 2 times. I can be there today at 6:30, or I can be there tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., which works better for you. I can be there today at 4, I can be there tomorrow at 3, which works better for you. That is the script. Did I answer your question? Yeah, so in terms of prioritizing, listings are like the most important thing that you do. Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned qualifying the listing appointment, I think.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that? I guess you mean qualifying the person. Are you meaning to see if it's worth going out, or is it serious before you go, or?
Yeah, you qualify them, and there's like a qualifying list, but you want to know, how much they owe on the house. Are they interviewing other agents? If you come out today, will they sign with you tonight? You ask them several questions to gauge how cold or warm the lead is before you go. If they just say, hey, can you come to my house tonight at 7, you don't want to just say, yeah, I'll be there. Click. But that's kind of like a whole nother topic, how to qualify the lead. But yeah, you do want to qualify them to make sure it's a good use of your time and make sure they're a real seller. Any other questions? All right. Well, let's move on to number 8, which is phone to appointment to paperwork, and then leave. So, when you're on the phone, it is impossible to sell a house over the phone. Would you agree with that?
Unless you know them and they already have your stuff.
Yeah, that would be correct. But 99% of the time, you should not. When you are on the phone with them, your objective is to secure an appointment. So when I'm on the phone with Kimberly, you want to roll play with me?
Sure.
And she's asking me, Trey, I'd like to talk to you about selling my house, and what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Sounds like we need a listing appointment, basically. Oh, that's a great question. It sounds like we need to meet. I can be there today at 7:30, or I can be there tomorrow at 11. Which works better for you?
Today at 7:30, please.
Great, I'll be there tonight at 7:30. Now ask me a question about the wallpaper or something.
What do you think about this wallpaper? Do you think I should paint over it? It was really, really done by my friend, and she's very artistic and has lots of flower designs from Paris. I love it. I'm just saying. I mean, I think it's what do you think? Because I think it's just awesome.
That's a great question. We'll cover that when I come this evening. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Answer no.
And I would have gotten off the phone quicker, but her question was very long. But seriously, when you have secured the, she said she was going to meet with me tonight at 7:30, right? When they have agreed to meet with you, you got to get off the phone. Nothing good can come from you staying on the phone. And if they have not agreed to meet with you, don't be talking about wallpaper and all that stuff. If you know that they're a prospective seller, then go ahead and secure the appointment. You can then say, that's a great question. It sounds like we need to meet. You heard me say that. That's a great question. It sounds like we need to meet. Now, my objective is to secure an appointment to go to her house. So I'm saying, that is a great question. It sounds like we need to meet. I can be there tonight at 7:30 or I can be there tomorrow at 11. Which works better for you?
7:30 tonight.
Perfect. You see, I'm not like just going, it's not a lot of small talk. And I'm not saying small talk, there's a time and a place for it, but when you're on the phone, your goal is to secure the appointment. You got a question?
Once you have that appointment, would it not be helpful to learn something about the house? If you're going to do comps, particularly in a hurry, you got an appointment in 4 hours. I'll get something else to do between now and then, which I'll do. I always like to take some time to learn something about the house, learn something about the neighbors and yourself.
That's a great question. Anything people say to me on a listing appointment, I say that's a great question. You know, and when I'm going out, I'll see those things. You know, I may have a couple other questions, but for the most part, I'm going out to secure the appointment, and I kind of probably understand the value. So I don't need as much of that. And everybody does it differently. Keep in mind, this is how I do it. This is how I took 10 listings. So I'm not saying my way is the only way. I'm just saying that's what I do. But for the most part, you know, if it's the middle of the day, they might be busy or whatever. I don't want to go into a long conversation over the phone about the house, about the process, about any of that. I want to get face-to-face and voice-to-voice. Yeah, but you know, if it is a very unique property or very unique situation, it might be times where you should do that, and there are times where I need to talk to them a little bit more. But for the most part, you want to cut down on the small talk. The purpose of the phone call is to secure an appointment. And I mean, that's kind of like business. AJ came to my office to meet with me the other day, and I was like, great, I can meet. I'm free today at 11, I'm free tomorrow at 2:30, which works better for you? She named one, and I said, all right, great, I'll see you then. And that's my girl. You know, I mean, it's not personal, it's just kind of a good business principle. Especially when you're busy and they're busy. And it makes you look like more of a professional, because if you're a working realtor, you shouldn't have like just 20 minutes to talk to people on the phone and deal with that.
Like, we'll just say, all right, you're nice.
Yes, sir.
I think the most important thing about an appointment is trying to know you and they trying to know you. Comps come in the picture at the end, because that's when you're going to price them. You can always do that later if you get them signed. What I mean is, comps is just an ending point. At what price is going to be priced. The appointment is more about selling yourself to them,
Right.
and creating that relationship.
I would agree with that. Yes, sir.
Would you go ahead and take the time to pre-qualify them if that's the first time you talk to them, or a lot of times you do that when you're out there?
Again, a lot of my business is in my database, so I have relationships with
You already
people.
know about.
Yeah, a lot of times I have some background information on them or the house and that kind of thing. So I don't as much information that I need. I get. It's just that we don't. It's not a good time to talk about a lot of random things. You're going face to face to cover those things. That's the purpose of the listing presentation. Is to yes, ma'am.
So I understand this. If you know you're in your database, you already know their home, that's why you don't need to ask any questions. If it's someone with similar results in your marketing, short of, like, you know what subdivision they're in, but you don't, when you ask them any questions about the house, even 2 or 3 minutes, just so you're basically know you're not worried about that at all.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, I ask them a few questions, don't get me wrong. It's just, some of the questions that I like the most is, I like to ask them, what do you think the house is for?
So you know that.
Yeah, I like to ask them, you know, so if I have a listing presentation, where like if I'm talking to them and, you know, it's not like I'm mean, you know, it's not like that. But so like I took a listing and this lady, she was an investor, somebody else had been living in the house. A lot of times when they get on the phone with me, they give me like a spiel. Like I can't even get a word in. And just, you know, hey, I heard about you, I want to talk to you about selling my house. I had people in and out. You know, I've been a landlord, I want to sell it, I want to get it on the market now. It's located in this subdivision. What do you think? You know, I mean, so I know a good bit about the house once they tell me all that. But then once I have an opportunity, like shortly after that, that's when I'm like, oh, well, that sounds awesome. It sounds like we need to meet.
Right, they see you kind of use this excuse of, I need to see your house to be able to tell you what it's worth, so let's make an appointment. Like if they try that, then you can use that as an excuse to make an appointment as well.
Yes. Well, the purpose of the listing appointment is to really go out there and see what the product is. Otherwise, you can meet with them in the office. That's why we meet with buyers in the office, but we meet with sellers out there. So a lot of times, I feel like you really do need to see them. And you know, every single time I teach these classes, the audience, the realtors, I kind of like overcomplicate some of the stuff, and I think some of the people in the audience right now are overthinking this. If you have an appointment and you know what the address is, you know how many bedrooms it is, you know how many bathrooms it is, you know what price and category it is. You know you know that you're talking to somebody, their house is worth between $325 and $360. You know that, even if you don't ask them all these little questions. And you can pull the tax records, you do your homework. So you know when you're going out there roughly what it's worth. And you're going out there to, if they can list within this category, you can take the listing. Yeah, but did I answer your question? But I you know, like if I get a call right now and they're like, hey, Trey, I want to talk to you about selling my house. It's like, okay, great. What is the address? You know, they give me the address. How many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? What do you think it's worth? You know, that's kind of like, you know, what I need. Yeah.
Could it be that the potential to stay on the phone too much longer thereafter is the risk that they talk themselves out of the appointment? Like they asked that question and in their mind that was the thing they wanted to know. Right. And so they may feel like they no longer need an appointment.
The mark of a rookie salesperson is they talk too much. You know, and the mark of a veteran salesperson is that they stop. You know, matter of fact, like during the sales process, like let's say, you know, this is an hour right here. If they decide right here that they want to do business with you and you don't recognize it and you keep going, then they can decide not to do business with you over here. You have to. People, sometimes they want to do business with you on the phone. Sometimes they know when they call you that they want to do business with you. Sometimes 5 minutes into a listing presentation, they know they want to do business with you. When people want to do business with you, you give them what they want. Some people are calling you, they don't want your presentation. They want you to come over there and put a sign in their yard. And if that's what they want, you have to recognize that and give it to them. And if they want that and you're asking them all these questions, that's going to frustrate them. And I'm not saying that's how it always is. I'm just saying it's a sales principle that when you're doing a deal, if you don't recognize when they're ready to do business, if you don't recognize when they're ready to buy your product, you buy it back from them. You had the listing, you kept talking, and you messed it up.
Yeah.
So,
can you repeat that? If you don't buy, repeat that.
There's a point when in any sale, we sell real estate, but if it was cars, whatever the product is, when people have made the decision to do business with you, if you plow through that and don't recognize it, then you buy your product back from them.
Write it down, write it down, write it down.
You know?
So he said, what does it mean? What does that mean?
Who said that?
Thumbs going, that's right, thumbs up. What does that mean?
All right, so, okay. So some of y'all can kind of tell that I might have some D in me. I am an I, actually. I, disc profile. Yes. But if you're, that's a whole nother kind of class. But you recognize the kind of people they are. I, D, S, C. But when someone has decided that they want to do business with you, they're ready to sign on the dotted line. And if you don't go ahead and give them that, and you keep on going on with your presentation for another 30 minutes, you've now just really just kind of made them mad. They changed their mind, like, no, just get out of my house. I'm done. So you have to, your presentation cannot be the same for everyone. Your presentation has to be tailored for the people. That green dress tells me that she's an I. So when I see her, I'm gonna be like, hey, what's up? We were in blah. But if I know I'm talking to a D, they talking bullets. You list with me, you sell it in 17 days, you get your money. Step one. Sign here. And I can tell that because of his suit. You have to recognize this in people, but you cannot practice your listing presentation for 1 hour and then think everybody wants to hear it. Some people want your 5-minute listing presentation. Some people want your 20-minute listing presentation. And some people don't really want a listing presentation, especially if they're like an S. They want you to like make them feel good, like you're safe. It's gonna be okay. I'm not gonna mess it up. If you list with me, the kids will be cool. Give me a hug. It's not funny because a lot of times you can tell people's disc profile by the way they're dressed. So you notice I called out an I, and I called out a likely D, and I called out an S. And you have to do business with people the way they are, not the way you like to do business. And it's the same way for like texting and calling and emailing. If they like to talk on the phone, I love to talk on the phone. If they like to text, I like to text. If they like to email, then we email. It's not like, well, I only like to talk on the phone. But as it relates to that sales principle, this is an hour. When people are ready to do business with you, that's why you do trial closes, If you have heard of trial closes. Do y'all know what a trial close is? So a trial close is at the end is when you would most likely put your pen down and say, are you ready to move forward? Are you ready to sign? A trial close is like, walking in the door like, oh, thank you for having me. You ready to sign the paperwork? They might say yes. You better get it signed and leave. And it's the same thing like when you start your presentation. Like, you ready to get a sign in the yard? Yeah, great. I'll put a sign in the yard. You don't always have to be so formal and always have to be so rigid and always have to be so however you want to be. You should be a chameleon enough to be how they want you to be. And the wife is really the most important one most of the time. She's 80% of the decision, in my opinion. So yeah, this is an important principle. That's why sometimes your listing presentation is an hour, sometimes it's 20 minutes. But it is very important that you address people and your listing presentation the way they are. But you don't cloud if they're ready to. And that's why when you're doing business with them and you're on these appointments, you have to like be looking at them and engage so that you can kind of get a feel. If they're breaking eye contact when you're going over your listing presentation, that means they don't want to hear it. So you should skip to the end. Or just ask them. You ready to sign? I'm joking, but I do that.
Trey.
Yes.
Good question.
Yes, ma'am.
You were saying that you cater to the different disc profiles. Do you also do that when it comes to whether or not you use your listing presentation electronically or still on paper?
That's a great question. I really just said it's a great question. In every listing presentation, every time they ask a question. And I'll say it 7 or 8 times sometimes. And it's very necessary, in my opinion, because you cannot have people scared to ask you questions when you're in their house. They have to be comfortable with you in their house. So that was a great question. What was the question again?
That was a great question. Do you cater to whether or not you do it on paper or you still do it electronically, depending on who the person is? Sometimes older people like paper, and millennials or younger people like electronic. Do you do that, or you just do it one way and that's it?
Yeah. I'm not that advanced. All my listing presentation is in paper still. But what the thing about it is, if your listing presentation is 20 or 30 pages, you don't go over the whole 20 or 30 pages with everybody. You prepare for a C, but you have enough paperwork to present to a C, but you present to a D very short. You know, you present to an S in a way that she wants to receive it. So you have your listing presentation, but you don't go over all that stuff with everybody. It depends on what they need and want from you. And I started off by saying that so often when I sit down, I put my presentation down and say, hey, I have a lot of stuff to go over, but what do you want to talk about today? And sometimes they don't want me to go over all that stuff. They just want to have a conversation with me. Similar to the way I started this class off. What do y'all want to talk about? Yes, ma'am.
So when you get to the actual listing agreement and knowing to go through every single page or not, do you ask them that they want to go through that, or do you just kind of take it on your own?
That's a great question. Whenever I'm there for a listing presentation, it's always my goal to get the listing signed on the spot. And the flyer, it's not really a flyer, it's just my production on all those appointments that I went. But you see that a lot of them signed right here on the spot. And I'm there to list the house. So I have to go over the listing presentation. So I say, let me go over the paperwork that's necessary for you to be successful. And I go over, this is the seller's property disclosure, this is the community association disclosure, this is the listing agreement that allows me to be your realtor and get your house on the market. You do want to get a sign on your yard, don't you? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like those little.
So you don't go through each page word by word, or like.
I'll go over that. I'll go over that first page. Let's see your pen. I go over that. I go over like the first page because that's where all the important information is, and then I flip to where they're supposed to sign and put the pen down.
Okay. And you do that every time?
Yes. It's my goal to get them to sign that day. And a lot of times they do. Yes, sir.
If you have someone that is a high C, they're going to read through it anyway and ask you questions.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Even if you skip to the last page, they'll go back.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
And then you sit there and wait for them to read it. So
Yeah.
you let them read it, or you don't go through it with them?
Well, I mean, the listing presentation is like 7 pages long. It's stuff to talk about on the first page. Most of the time, not any special steps in my listing agreement. Half the time I get them to sign on the spot. Half the time they tell me they need to sleep on it, or I can't get them to sign on the spot. I'm not saying like I'm always able to get them to sign on the spot. It's not like, that's not what I'm saying. But I'll always try. And a lot of times they do, and sometimes they don't. But if they don't, I don't. I feel like it's my job. And this is an analogy that I used last time I taught this class. It's like if you were facing 10 years in jail, and you go to see a big time buckhead attorney, and the guy says, look, I can keep you out of jail. For my services, it's going to be $20,000. Are you ready to do business today? He can't just be like, she don't look like she gonna sign with me today, so I ain't even gonna ask her. You know? And that's how realtors are. Well, she facing 10 years, I couldn't get her out, but she don't look like she gonna sign with me today, so I'm not even gonna ask her. No, you have to ask for the sale.
Yeah.
That is a sales principle as well. You have to ask for the order. If I was a sales manager and any one of you were a salesperson on my team and you come back in here and you don't have the listing agreement, I'm going to ask you, did you ask for the order? And if you say yes, but you didn't get it, cool. Let's go on about our business. If you say no, I'm going to say go back and ask for the order. You must ask for the business. You are a salesperson. Last time I checked. You know, and so in that way. And that was it, Bill Jameson in Fisher Road office, and what's his wife's name? Nancy. You say Nancy? Man, that was Bill's my boy. I was talking to Bill, he was like, man, she's a beast. He was like, I saw her just sign the paperwork 12 times in the listing presentation. And I was like, ooh, 12 times. Just sign the paperwork. 12 times. This is not a fictional person. This is somebody who works right here in the law school. 12 times. Just sign the paperwork. Yeah. Absolutely. But you know, typically people have to say no twice before they say yes. That's also a sales principle. Typically people will say no twice before they say yes.
So what happens?
So if you truly understand that they must say no twice before they say yes, you want to go ahead and get those no's out of the way. So as soon as you walk in the door, like, oh, it's 2 o'clock. We had an appointment at 2 o'clock. It is 2 o'clock. Are you ready to sign the paperwork? One. Cool. We got one out the way. You know, but that's also a bold script. Just do the right thing and sign the paperwork. Just do the right thing and sign the paperwork. And yes, ma'am.
So I think about what you're saying, and a lot of times, who in the room cold calls? Okay. So typically, when you're cold calling, one of the reasons that you don't get the appointment is you're okay with the first no, and not appreciating that you got to handle the objection and move forward. So just as you think about the possibilities of becoming a cold caller, or you're currently there mastering your skill, push through to set the appointment outside of the person.
You know what? I've been in sales for a long time, and every no when you get in any kind of situation, they're not saying no to you. There's a question behind that no, and you need to find out what question they have. And once you conquer that question with an answer, and it works for them, then no becomes a yes.
Can't be a good salesperson is paid to overcome objections. You know, and then this is another thing. When I do it, say, look, Brett, let's do the right thing and sign the paperwork right now. So boy, look at me like, no, I'm not gonna sign it. Like, hey man, I owe it to you to ask you to sign it. You brought me in here today for me to do this. And you have to understand, if I can't ask you to sign a listing agreement, I can't ask them to buy your house. Wouldn't you agree with that? And that's so when you are asking them to sign your paperwork, you have to use that as an example of, like, I can be an aggressive salesperson for you. If it is the truth, if you're too timid to ask the seller to sign a listing agreement, you're probably going to be timid that very next week asking a buyer to buy their house. And Kim has seen me do open houses, and I ask them right there, hey, are you going to bring me an offer? And they laugh, but a realtor multiple times has sent me an offer because I said that. But when sellers, you know, you're somebody that was gonna see you.
I apologize, I'm late. I was at a listing appointment.
It's all good. Good to see you, girl. Yeah, but you definitely use that as an opportunity to show them that you're not afraid to ask for the business, ask for the order. You know? So, I mean, we go through if I'm in there, we're going over a listing presentation. If I go over a listing presentation, I'm gonna ask them to sign it. I owe it to them to ask them that. And I truly believe that I owe it to them. If they bring me there for a listing presentation, I don't go over the listing paperwork, and then I don't ask them to sign it, they could have been here, ready to do business. But just because they're ready to do business, they're not going to be like, hey, Trey, stop everything, we're ready to sign. They're still going to be respectful and wait on you to say, Joe, are you ready to move forward?
I think the best salespeople, they don't go for a try close. They assume close. Yeah. It's an assumed close. You are in your presentation, made up your mind that you've already been asked by them to be their realtor of choice, and you assume it. And that part, if you can reach it, you don't have to ask for the signatures to just sign.
I don't agree with that.
Really?
No. I mean, I agree with assuming the close in the end, but I agree with doing trial closes all the way throughout. That's just my opinion. Huh? Oh, yes,
Regina, what's your opinion?
Regina, what do you think about that?
So the assumptive close is very passive, right? And so you can't assume that they're gonna say yes to you because you're assuming that they're gonna say yes to you. And the only way you know they're gonna say yes or no is by their close.
Right, no, I agree. But I think that's the mindset, that when they have called you and I come from a place, and if you have connected so well, in trial, there is still a question for me whether they'll sign it or not, or you ask 12 times. But I think if you present yourself and if you connect so well, that question becomes very secondary to you.
Yeah.
Because all the listings I've done it that way, and it has worked for me. So I think it depends on the personalities too. That's how you want to do it.
Again, it works for everybody. I'm gonna put pressure on them to sign until it gets uncomfortable between us. You know, and I'm not trying to be funny. That's what they hired. That's what they brought me in there to do. And again, that's just my style. You know, I'm not saying, but I'm going to ask them to sign the paperwork. And then if they say no, I'm gonna ask them, what do I have to do for you to sign and list with me tonight? And when I say that, I'm like, what is it gonna take for you to list with me tonight? Smiling. God. You know, I mean, like, it's kind of a game in that way. You know, like real estate is a sport. I'm an athlete. You know, that's what I'm here for. See if we can win this. What's that?
Never.
Oh, you cannot be tied to the outcome. That is number 9. It is. It is number 9, and we're at number 9. But yeah, you can never be tied to the outcome. You cannot be tied to the result. You're just supposed to do what you're supposed to do. Oh, but in finishing number 8, and then I'll come right back to those questions. Yeah, phone to appointment. You get the appointment, and then when I go on the appointment, my goal is to get them to sign the paperwork. I mean, I don't always get it, but I'll always ask. And because I'm so direct like that, many times they call me back, it's literally like 10 o'clock the next morning. We're going to move forward. So, yeah. Well, we're at 9. We'll come back to that. Who had a question?
Well, I just had more of a comment because, as the gentleman said, I do the same approach, and it's not about not asking for it, it's how you ask for it. So when I'm down, I'll typically say, okay, are you comfortable with electronic signature? I can send it to you now or something like that. You know, just asking them how they want to sign it. My conversion rate is 95%, and I do it very, just assumatively, like that you're going to sign with me until they say you're not. And in doing open houses, I learned the same thing. Initially, I would say, what's your phone number? And sometimes I would get pushed back, you know, like if I wanted to connect with a buyer. Then I just started writing it down, like, okay, your name. And I'd be like, okay, and send it to what number? And just more of an assumative way as opposed to like asking them directly. It just seemed more natural and normal for them to just give me their information. So I agree
that you should assume the close. I just don't agree with not doing trial closes. I think you should do trial closes the whole time. So it's not like I'm saying I disagree that assuming the sale and assuming the close is effective. I understand that that's effective. I just feel like in addition to that, you should be doing trial closes the whole time. Yes, ma'am.
But everything that she says that she does is a form of trial closing.
Right.
What you just described, that's a trial close. Okay, what's your name? You're getting information with the assumption that she's going to be closed. You're trying by asking the right questions for her to get to a yes. So it is a trial close. I think the word assuming or assumption is being used inappropriately.
We're just all looking at it from a different perspective when it comes down to the same thing. Okay, guys?
It is
And a smarter salesman would listen to the unspoken words of those clients and then make their decision whether he wants to go with a trial or a reservation. That's how you connected with the person.
Yeah, I think what Trey is saying again is throughout your conversation and whatever form you communicate, your job is to trial close. The more head nods, yes, agreements that you get, that solidifies that the intention at the end of the presentation, even if there's a presentation, you're going to close it. And you feel comfortable because they're giving you the sign that you need to know this is done. So that may be directly, indirectly, continue throughout the conversation to make sure that you're getting those signals so that you know that at the end of the presentation.
Trey, how do you handle the logistics of, I mean, I very much agree with the idea of getting signed now, but some houses need some work, most houses need some staging, you certainly got to build some time in for a photographer. And then FMLS says once you've signed something, you got to put it in 48 hours, which is a crazy rule in my opinion. How do you handle all those logistics?
So that's a great question. And
I'm suspecting you now every time you say that.
what's that? You know, whether people don't know that I'm doing that or not, it still feels good. And it creates an environment that's open to ask questions.
It's a great habit.
Yeah. And it's a real habit for me. So this is how I realistically do it. I pull my phone out and tell me your name, sir?
Jack.
Jack. Okay. So I'll say, so let's say, Jack, you were going to, when you sold this house, you were going to be moving to Colorado?
Sure.
Okay, and you wanted to be there by October?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Actually, September 15th.
September 15th. Awesome, Jack. So in order for you to be in Colorado by September 15th, then I'm looking at the calendar now. Today is July 10th, right? So let's set a goal to have your house on the market. Do you think you can have it ready for the market by next weekend?
Sure I can.
Okay. So that's going to be July 21st, right?
I'm all right with that, yeah.
Okay. So July 21st that's when we're going to list. So we need to, I'll need you to meet with the stager this week, and we're going to have the house photographed between now and then. Okay? Great. So now, average listing in your price point is selling in about 17 days, but I don't want to overpromise. So let's just say it's going to take 30 days to get it under contract. Would you agree with that, Jack?
Sounds fair.
Okay. You see how he's agreeing with everything I said? Okay. So that means we'll have it under contract by August 21st. Now, Jack, you want to be in Colorado by September 15th. That means that once we get under contract, we need someone to do a 21-day close. That is very aggressive. Typically, they need about 30. If they needed 30, then we would be looking at September 21st to close. Now, that's if we run into no problems and everything goes very smoothly. So wouldn't you agree you need to list tonight?
I'll be glad to sign.
Perfect. Help them understand the timeline.
Yeah.
He started off by saying you remember I said October 1st or whatever I said. He said September 15th. He pushed it up. That's like a real conversation. He pushed it up on me. He said, no, let's make it September 1st. when I put down, we're gonna list this house in a week and a half from now, that's aggressive. We're gonna have another contract the first month, that's aggressive. We're gonna have somebody to close in 30 days, that's aggressive. Everything is the most aggressive it can possibly be for him to meet his deadline. He needs to list tonight. And if he doesn't list tonight, then he needs to understand, you can't expect me to have you in Colorado by September 15th because you're already putting me back. You set an aggressive deadline, and now you don't even want to get started tonight.
So you're having them sign it and date your listing agreement for July 31st?
You should consult your broker on that. But what I want Jack to sign, and then our goal is to list it July 21st.
Would you take the pricing into consideration, like the number of days? Because that's pretty important.
Yeah. So we can start off by going over the comps. Yeah, if I'm taking the listing at a price point, I feel like I can sell it in 30 days. Yes. Yeah. But that's exactly how it works. And me getting my phone out and doing those timelines in front of people, I do that all the time. And this bold, my aha was the 10 listings in 40 days. But the second bold that I took, my aha from that bold, which is why you got to take bold. The more you grow your business, bold will meet you in different places. So the second time I took bold, my biggest aha was the importance of helping them understand the importance of me understanding what their motivation is. You see, I didn't even want to go into that analogy unless he had some kind of motivation. You need to be in Colorado by a certain time. If their motivation is weak, they're a weak seller. If their motivation is strong, they're a strong seller. If they say something like, why are you moving? I don't like the wallpaper. That's a bad seller. You know, why are you moving? We need to be in Colorado by this time next month. That's the best seller you can get. Their motivation is the strongest it could be, which means the listing is strong. Thank you for coming, Jack.
Thank you, Trey. Sorry, I had an
You're
hour.
good, man. Does that make sense? So understanding what their motivation is very important. It's very, very important. And you start off even earlier in your presentation, like, so Joe, when I sell the house, where are you going to be moving? Great. Out of curiosity, when do you need to be there?
Probably October.
Perfect. So now everything that I say during this presentation is going to get him to Chicago by October. Why should you list tonight? Because that will get you to Chicago by October. Why should you do this? Because that will get you to Chicago by October. Understand their motivation and timeline and use it throughout the presentation. Yes, ma'am.
You had I was looking over your listings. One of the listings that you launched said they wanted to price at $350 and you wanted to price at $375. So how did you, clearly you didn't take the listing because it wasn't at a price point. Was there anything else about that listing that made you say, you know what, I can't get them down to $325, so I'll just pass on it?
Yeah, I consider myself an open book. I mean, I didn't win the listing. You know, part of the reason I didn't win it is because I told her that I truly thought it should be $325. She truly wanted $350 because I wouldn't agree to that. She didn't want to, you know, we couldn't reach an agreement that night. And then within 2 or 3 days, she went and listed with another agent. You know,
She might call you back, though.
What's that?
She might call you back.
Well, actually, she listed with another agent in my office, and he's terminating this week.
She won't lower the price.
A blessing.
She won't lower the price.
It didn't work out. Hey, you know, man, look, 10 listings in 40 days, I swear to you, it has been one of the greatest things I've done in my real estate career. It's been awesome. My aha from that is don't take bad listings. If you take, look, let me just help you understand. You take a listing, you spend $100 to send your stager out there. You spend $150 to send the photographer out there. It's problematic. They're not happy. They're calling. They're complaining. Things are going on. You're managing this stuff. You're spending more time on bad listings than you are the good listings. You got $350, $400 in it. It doesn't work out. They decide to terminate. Then you pay after months another $50 to get rid of it. That's a great question. And you can, I don't. And the reason I don't is because they already are upset. And the last thing I need is a negative commercial in Atlanta about how bad Trey Cooper is. Can I? Yes. Will I? No. And that's because if they don't want to be with me, I don't want to be with them. I want to let them go. And I got that from Gene Rivers. Well, I never made people pay to terminate with me. But Gene Rivers' seller mastery confirmed that I don't think it's a good idea, because if they're already, if it's already, listing their house is one of the most happy, it's a very happy occasion. And then if it doesn't work out, it's like rejection, So the last thing you need is to kind of kick them while they're down, like, it didn't work out, and I need a check for $50. And then if you do that, then they want to tell everybody how bad you were.
Somebody told me that you can make them agree beforehand, hey, if this doesn't work out, then you can pay for the fees. That's just what I've been told.
And you can, and a lot of people do. Yeah. I don't agree with that approach and mindset, just because I consider myself to be a Southern gentleman.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of like it's the cost of doing business.
Yeah, I don't like that.
If I take Regina's listing and I tell her I'm going to sell it, I think I'm going to sell it, we come to an agreement on a price, 2 or 3 months go by, it doesn't work out, I don't want to come back to her and say, I need $50 to get you out of this. I just want to say, look, I'm sorry it didn't work out. I really am. You're good. I'll take care of it.
Even in the pre-listing experience, Dinah Costa is always talking about power of the words. So if you go in with a mindset that when this doesn't work out, you're going to pay me, you essentially are setting your own mindset that that's not going to happen. And we don't do that at KW. Our universe is full of success. So there's no reason why you should even be concerned about having to pay the FMLS. It's a privilege to be able to have this.
It really is.
I've heard a few agents do that on listings that they feel are overpriced just to take them and see what happens.
That's what I was told.
Like if they're overpriced, like, okay, well, we'll market it with your price point, but it's going to cost me money to market it. So if we can't sell it, and if they don't want to do a price reduction already built in, then I can kind of see that point. But I agree, because that would be like saying, hey, I'm probably going to suck at my job and not sell it, and when I do, I want you to pay me everything back. I mean, that's basically what you're selling. But if they're asking for a higher price point, or you tell them this is the price point, I kind of see it, but
would you marry a man that says, I want to get married to you, and if this doesn't work out, you're going to pay me all my bills?
Yeah, absolutely. I would do that in a heartbeat. I would. You're right.
You're going to sign a prenup.
You're going to give me money after it don't work out? Back when.
No, wait. We're overthinking this. Look, there's no right or wrong way to do it. This is the way I look at it. We pay hundreds of dollars, sometimes thousands of dollars for marketing, to put your name out there in a positive light. That's $50 if it didn't work out. I can make you pay that $50 fee. I can make you do that. If I make you do that, you're going to trash my name and my business every chance you get between now and forever.
Right.
It's not worth it. It's the cost of doing business.
Trey, I wasn't even talking about the $50 though.
It's talking about marketing. It's kind of like if a guy on the first date is like, you pay for your meal, I'm gonna pay for my meal. That feels bad.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it is.
The same scenario.
What?
The same scenario. That's what I was referring to. The same scenario is if somebody wants to list their house for $100,000 more than what it probably will sell for, you say, okay, fine.
I think you should not take the listing.
Right.
That's what I started off by saying up here is you have to have enough integrity to turn down business. And if you don't turn down business, you have to understand if you take this listing and it doesn't work out, it's probably going to cost you $400 or $500 to have done all that and it didn't work out. Now, once I become the best version of myself as a listing agent, I am better at identifying that in the appointment when it doesn't feel good, so I can then just say, I'm not the person for this. It's not personal. I'll refer you to another agent in my office. You know, and they might want it or whatever, but you don't take it. And if I do take it, it's because I'm giving you my word that I'm going to work hard and sell your house. I honestly feel like I can sell it. And so, but I feel like you should turn down the listing if it's not good, if it doesn't feel good, if you don't really want it, if you can't sell it, turn it down. And if you don't turn it down, if you take it and you can't sell it, it's going to cost you $500. And time, effort, energy, all that.
So it's going to affect your other business.
If you, what would you recommend? What activities would you recommend for agents to get? I don't have a lot database. So getting on the phone and calling past clients is something that's probably not going to, unfortunately, not really be the 10 listening. What other activities do you recommend for those of us whose databases are on the weak side?
How long have you been in real estate? 10 years. Okay, so if you've had 3 closings a year for 10 years, then you have at least 30 past clients. Okay, how many would you say you have?
She has worked with investors.
Oh. How many would you say you have? 50? 80? So you sold 10 houses a year?
It's like from repeat.
Okay.
So and then there's a couple of points, of course, that you would never want.
That would be correct.
So yeah, let's say 50.
Okay, let's say 50. When I started my database, I started with 40. So you have a database. You don't, mindset. You don't have mindset that you have a database. I think it's something like 90% of real people say they would do business with the agent again, but they can't remember their name. So I would start off, in my mind, the number one source of business for everyone in this room is your database and your sphere of influence. That's your friends, family, and past clients. She has 50 past clients that aren't even hearing from her. So I think those 50 past clients should be getting, they should be getting a postcard. Let me answer your question. They should be getting some kind of postcard from you every single month. That's what I would be doing first.
They are getting
I mean a 33 touch. They should be getting a 33 touch. Yeah. Well, and the 12 touch should get you something. And then, in my opinion, if it was my listing, it's my listing for life. Obviously, I'm a listing agent. You know, teach the stats. So if it's my listing and you bring the buyer and go over there, this is my listing forever. I'm going to keep sending postcards to that house. That's my listing. And I will have sold the same house 2 or 3 times from doing that.
So you have like a campaign set up that's basically address based on any home you've ever sold, and you continually market to. That's a great idea.
No, they learn. I pick up their name at some point during the transaction.
Well, of course, because it's on the contract.
Yes. So it's 123 Main Street. It was listed by Trey Cooper. You know, this person, 123 Main Street is right here. Somebody bought it, came in here, they moved out. 123 Main Street is gonna keep getting postcards from me. I mean, like, if it's my girl who sold it, and I know she is also marketing to that client, then I might not do it. But for the most part, other agents are marketing to their clients or to their listings. So I owe it to that house and the neighborhood to keep sending them postcards. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, and y'all laugh when I say this, but if you really think about yourself as serving these people, then you really do owe it to them. If they hired me because I'm a top producing list agent, I owe it to them to come in there and ask for the business. I owe it to them to send postcards to the house.
Of course you can sell the house again. You sold it the first time.
Correct.
Who knows it better than you?
So from that mindset, you have 50 past clients. Let's say 20 of those were listings. That's a 70-person database. They should be getting postcards before you spend money and time on anything else. Yeah.
Would you mind emailing me or ask them what those random postcards are that you sent to the previous listing addresses?
I don't really have electronic versions of them, but if you're ever in my office in Sandy Springs, you come in my office, I'll show it's like a stack of 20 of them. I just show them. I show them to anybody who walks in there. I send something out always sending it out to my database. I literally sent something out today, and it was just a just sold card for whatever I just listed. It was a just listed card for whatever I just listed. But everybody in my database is getting it. And when I see them, I don't talk to them about real estate. They walk up to me and say, "Thank you for sending me all those cards. Thank you for sending me those football calendars. Thank you for whatever."
So if you sell a house in Ableton, you'll send that to 123 Main Street Educator, just so they know what you're up to.
So you have attended this class. We are now connected. Would you want to know what I just listed for $479,000?
Sure, why not?
That's why I sent it out. You know? And that's why, and I don't even know where you live, but I would send you the card because the relationship is bigger than where you live. What was that?
I was just going to say that works. I had a closing a month ago. I represented the seller, and I was talking to the buyer at closing because the agent didn't show up. I put him on my database, mail him, and they reached out to me like recently to get a contractor recommendation for a house. I wasn't their agent. I was, representing the seller, so I'm saying that works. That's one of the things that I just add them to my database as well.
Yeah, it's cool. And I mean, honestly, I don't do it in any kind of like ill will or spite to the other agent. If we're cool and we sell a house together, Natalie's my girl, and I know that she stays in touch with her people after they close, then I wouldn't do that. I honestly wouldn't. But if I sell a house with another agent, and I know that agent found her off of the client found him off of Realtor.com, and that guy, they can't even remember his name now, and we still at the closing, that person is staying in my database. So and I mean, in all honesty, it's like 1 out of 10 where I know the realtor is staying in contact with their people. It's not that often. So I think your database should be hearing from you. I feel like your database, and it's not always like just all cards. I sent a football calendar for the football season. I sent a year-round calendar at the beginning of the year. Just items of value. I don't do any email campaigns, and it's not because I don't believe in it. I'm just not developed in that way yet. I would like to have more of them, but I don't think a 33 touch should be 33 emails. I feel like that touch is not strong enough. Let me go to 9 and 10 so we can finish, and then we'll just do question and answers for the rest of the time. Number 9 is don't be tied to the outcome. And whatever you do in real estate, you just do what you're supposed to do and don't be tied to the outcome. Steve Kaut used to run the Sandy Springs Market Center. You know Steve Kaut. And that was like his #1 pro listening to me all the time. Don't be tied to the outcome. Don't be tied to the outcome. You just do what you're supposed to do, and it'll work out for you most of the time. But you cannot be tied to the outcome. It's kind of like asking for the business. The salesperson is supposed to ask for the order. They might say yes, they might say no, but you cannot be tied to the outcome. You just do what you're supposed to do. Send your cards out. Do not be tied to the outcome as you're doing business with people. Number 10, be grateful for referrals. You reward the action, not the result. If after this class, Regina sends me a referral, and that guy calls me and it's like, man, I want to know if I can get a rental in McDonald's. You're like, for real? I don't do rentals. I wouldn't do it like that. I'll be very nice and I'll put her in touch with somebody. But I'm gonna call Regina and love on Regina and send her a handwritten card with a $5 Starbucks card in it because I reward the action of sending me referrals. I don't reward based on how good the referral is because she sent me one referral. Could she send another one? And another one and another one? If she sends another one, is it likely that it's probably going to be better than the rental in McDonald's? Reward the action, not the result. So thank you for the referral. I love you for that. Referrals are the cornerstone of my business. Thank you. I love you. It's awesome. I love you and your people. And I mean it. I do.
You're welcome. I got 2 or 3 maybe coming.
Love you. I really, I mean, it's so genuine. Like, there's nothing, some of us have this in our email. The greatest compliment you can receive is a referral from your friends and family. Truer words have never been spoken. There is no greater compliment to your real estate business than people sending you referrals. And when they send you referrals, you must be grateful. It's not their job to interview people before if someone says they have real estate needs, they need to say, hey, you need to talk to Trey. They don't need to say, well, what's your price point? Where do you want to go? What's your credit score? Trey might want to talk to you. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. And the last thing, the bonus, is always understand their motivation for selling. In the beginning of your listing presentation, you should understand why they're moving. You should not be talking to them about the listing presentation and you don't understand where they're going. You need to understand, just going to Valentine. You know, that's the reason. Or, why are you selling? Like, you have to understand their motivation. Yeah. And when some of y'all talked to me earlier about like what I talked, when I was saying, get off the phone, one of the pre-qualification questions I always want to know is, out of curiosity, where are you moving? Because when they answer that question, that tells me how serious of a seller they are.
I think that's a better question than asking why you sell.
Oh, you want to assume that? You assume to sell. Yeah. So, out of curiosity, when I sell your house, where will you be moving? I love Michigan. When do you need to be there? Awesome. So now everything I say is getting her to Michigan by December.
That's great. When I sell your house, I have an awesome referral person up in Michigan I can connect you with if you're looking for a house there. 25% referral fee.
Absolutely.
Don't forget about that one.
Absolutely. Well, I've covered everything. I've covered all the bullet points that I had here. So at this point, I can answer any questions you have.
Where are we on?
Oh, yeah. Good. So, how to get more listings. So, you don't focus on getting more listings, you focus on getting more listing appointments. In order to get more listing appointments, you can, it has a lot to do with your personality type too. So in order to get more listings, you can market to your database and sphere of influence. I think that's the best way. I really, really do. Your past clients especially have to receive postcards from you. I believe in open houses as well. I like open houses a lot. I think being face-to-face and voice-to-voice with people is the best way to do business and bring in business. Look at these. I didn't talk that much about circle prospecting, and I'm really into circle prospecting. Circle prospecting is when you have a listing, or you prospect around the listing. And circle prospecting is built into my business. So typically when I have a new listing, I want to be there to hold it open the first weekend. And part of the reason I want to do that is because I want to meet the neighbors and I want to be accessible to them, because I want them to be able to put a face with a name. I want them to have access to me. I intend to sell the house in the first 2 or 3 weeks, and I don't want them to say they never had an opportunity to see the house or see me. And I think that listing should bring me another seller or some more business. I'll also send out just sold cards around houses when I sell. I'm really into circle prospecting. Does everybody understand what circle prospecting is? You said no? Okay. So this is my listing right here. Everybody in this room are my potential clients moving forward. So it's kind of like, hey, we just sold this house. We just listed this house for $300. Hey, we're doing an open house. This house on Saturday from 2 to 5. Then we put it under contract. Hey, we just sold this house in 17 days. So y'all are the circle prospects around my listing.
Are you saying you go to the neighbors and say that? You kind of connect with the neighbors? What are you saying?
I don't do it as much, like going door knocking, but I send postcards around it, and I do open houses around it. When I do open houses, I put out a lot of signs, and neighbors are invited to the open house. I'm prospecting and making the neighbors feel welcome. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah, with prospecting, you can also door knock and make phone calls, because you have a database, you can actually find out within a radius of where that house is. So, if the weather is bad, pick up the phone, make the phone calls, and that's still considered as prospecting. So invite them to an open house, invite them to whatever you're doing.
Absolutely. So, my schedule, I would say my number one challenge in growing my business is going by a schedule consistently. It's very difficult for me. Stuff comes up, but my goal is to be in the office by 8 a.m. My goal is to be on the phone by 9 a.m. And my goal is to do an open house on Saturday from 2 o'clock. And by my calendar, I think about 75% of the time. So, and I feel like for me to be the best version of myself, I'm gonna have to be as consistent as possible with going by my schedule and sticking to it. It's kind of like one of the old laws. It's not about real estate. It's about following a schedule. It's really important.
So you said you do your open houses on Saturdays versus Sundays?
Yes.
Have you looked at what the numbers look like? I've flip-flopped, but I have signs for both. And to me, it just seemed like I get more traffic on Sundays. Do you look at that at all?
So skipping down here to time off.
Got you.
You have to unplug.
Yeah.
I don't live to sell real estate. I sell real estate to live. This is what I do. It's not like everything that I am. I have a son, I have a life, I have friends. Life is wonderful. I want to enjoy it. And based on what I've seen, Sunday is the best day to unplug. You can not answer the phone on Sunday when people aren't calling you. That's a good time to consistently take that day off. I'm still working one day in the weekend. But that's why I do. Saturdays, I feel like even if you want to take off, you should be answering your phone a lot of times. So that's why I do That's why I take Sundays off. Yeah. Yes, sir.
I started taking Sundays off last year, and I talked to a couple of the other agents that have been doing this a long time, and they said in the South, looking at houses after church or on Sunday afternoons is just kind of like a thing that people do. So if you do your open houses on Saturday, you're more likely to get serious buyers than just people coming in and killing time.
And before I was doing open houses Saturday 2 to 5 and Sunday 2 to 5, and I wasn't finding that Sunday was any better than Saturday. My sign said both, and I was holding the same house open Saturday 2 to 5 and Sunday 2 to 5, and Sunday was not just always better.
This house on Sunday. If it rains or not, because not lining, people think they're going to melt away when it rains, so they don't come out.
I think we're overthinking. If you just do open house for 3 hours on the weekend, you're going to be good. Get face-to-face and voice to people. And Sunday works for a lot of people. Sunday is the stereotypical open house day. I just do it on Saturdays.
I do a bunch of open houses and try to do a minimum 2 a month. I've discovered it's more of the time, the time frame for the area you're in versus the day. So in some areas, 1 to 3 is more effective. In other areas, I've noticed I get there at 1, nobody starts showing up till about 2:30, and then all of a sudden now I'm staying a lot longer than I planned. So that area I switched to 2 to 4 or 2 to 5 because nobody was showing up in the first hour. So I think to maximize results, you don't want to play with it time.
I think 2 to 4, 2 to 5 is the most common time. But aside from real estate, you're just taking time for yourself and your family. taking Sunday off consistently has created a lot of peace within my life, and that has translated to peace within my business. You know, because ultimately your business will grow to the extent that you do, and if you are rested and fresh, then people can feel that. If you are stressed and overworked, people can feel that. You know, if you show up at listing appointments and you look like you haven't taken a day off in like a month, like you know what I mean? That's not like you should be more of an expert than just a workaholic. You know, in my opinion. Would you agree with that, Regina? Right? I would just like to pause. Thank Regina one more time for all that she has done for all of us. Regina has been a leader within the Rawls group for quite some time now, and it's been an honor and a blessing to have her in my circle and part of my support system and have a relationship with her. And she is the reason that I'm here today, and I just love her. Yeah. And when I heard that life was promoting her further away from me, I was like, what can I do to support you? And she said, come teach 10 listings in 40 days, and that's how and why I'm here today.
Talk about promotion. Everyone in this room will not be where you are today next year. And if you are, you have not done the best service. You're here because you want this. Now you have to just do it. Because if somebody else can do it, so can you. And although I'll be in Valentine, North Carolina, I'm expecting to see your numbers increase, your value within yourself increase, and people really acknowledge who you are as a real estate professional.
Thank you, I received that.
And in all honesty, there is nothing that any of us can do to grow our business more than being a student of real estate. Because your business will grow to the extent that you do. You don't grow your business, you grow yourself. Because if you have if you have a $50,000 business acumen, if someone gave you a $300,000 business, within 6 months you would mess it up and shrink it right back down to $50,000. Because that's who you are, and you're the CEO of your business. Likewise, if you have a $300,000 business acumen and someone gives you a $50,000 business, within 6 months you'd have it, within 3 months probably, you have it up to $300,000. Because that's the business acumen and the real estate acumen that you have. So if you want to grow your business from 100,000 to 300,000, you don't grow the business, you grow yourself. And if you grow yourself, the business will naturally come up as you come up. That's just my opinion. Oh, well, that's a fact that I have learned from taking my classes. That's very true. That is very, very true. Who am I talking with? I have been MAPS coach. MAPS is Keller Williams' highest level of coaching. And I've now been doing MAPS coaching for 2 years. I think it's expensive. Let's just be honest. But in all honesty, nothing is more expensive than ignorance. And let me repeat that. Nothing is more expensive than ignorance. And if you think about if a person had the ability to earn $200,000 a year and they were comfortable earning $80,000, it was essentially throwing away $120,000 a year. So you have to, don't think about the cost of paying for that. You think about what is the cost of you not developing yourself. That's the true question. Because you're in an industry and a market, Buckhead is like the best market in the South. Forget Atlanta. So you have the opportunity to earn $150,000, $200,000 a year. So if you're not doing that and you're not developing yourself, you should take time to calculate how much you're losing every month by not developing yourself. And if you do that, then something costing you $1,000 a month, you'll view it differently. So I have who I'm talking to, I'm a MAPS coach. I'm always in classes. I take them both 4 times, well, 3 times, three times, and I intend to take it this time. And that's how I know a lot of the top agents in this room. Marketing materials, I'm really into the postcards. I send postcards to my database and around my listings very often.
Postcards.
Postcards, so just sold cards.
Yeah, who do you use?
Yeah, so Michael Lewis Marketing Suite, and then Marist. Marist, she does like custom postcards. She's been doing cards for me now for a couple years, but she's now she's grown a lot, and she's doing work for a lot of other agents. She has a team now. Yeah. Marist Inc. Yeah, but do not overthink what this is what I always say. What did you send to your people last month? Nothing. Therefore, anything you send this month is better than what they got from you last month. So just send something. Do not, perfection is the mother of never getting it done. It's not important that they get an amazing postcard from you. It's important that they get 8 postcards from you in the next 8 weeks. That's what's important. You can send the same postcard 8 times. I mean, you laugh. McDonald's doesn't have 8 different commercials during the one TV show, do they? They run it so much you can finish the commercial, and you don't even like when the commercial comes on. That's what your postcards are for your business. So I'm really into postcards, and then I'm kind of active on social media. I post something a lot. I do a lot of videos on social media. Scripts. I'm always into scripts. The number one script I feel is I would not be a good realtor if. So this is what I would say. Just end your calls with this. So Natalie, I would not be a good realtor if I did. I would not be a good realtor if I didn't ask. Who do you know that needs to buy or sell a house right now? Perfect. Thank you so much. And I'll be sure to tell them that you sent me. And if she had said, many times when you ask that script, when you say, AJ, who do you know that needs to buy or sell a house right now? Perfect. Thank you. Did you see that when I finished that question and when she started answering, it was like a 2-second pause of silence? It's always going to be a 2 or 3 second pause of silence, and you have to embrace that silence. If you speak during that silence, you're going to mess up your referral. Your wheels are turning. She didn't know I was going to ask that question. You can't be like, who do you know needs to buy or sell a house? Tim? You know, you know what I'm saying? When you ask them, they got to think about it, and you got to let them think about it. You know. So that's very important. And I would say that script. And lately, I mean, I'm really into serving my clients. I really think that if I work with them, I can serve them at a higher level than anybody. And so when I'm doing these things and saying these things, I'm telling them, like, Kim, I owe it to you to tell you that I'm teaching 10 listings in 40 days so you can show up at the class. You know, if I didn't tell her and she saw me next week, she would be like, Trey, why you didn't tell me? And it's the same way with your buyers and sellers. I owe it to you to do this for you. Because if I don't, you're not going to get the full experience. I owe it to you to do this. And I really feel that way, and I say that to my clients a lot. Because it's great to talk about beautiful, things, butterflies and roses, but you're paid to have difficult conversations with people. Paid to put out fires, paid to overcome objections, paid to make it happen. And just because you're doing good for them does not mean that it feels good when you're having that conversation. So, and I started off by just saying it at the beginning of the conversation, this is not going to be a pleasant conversation. House didn't praise. Or whatever. But scripts are really important. And I think it's very important that you're always taking new scripts. And a lot of times when you ask another agent for advice, what you really need is their script. You know, it's like, look, Regina, I have this and this and this and this. What's your script for that? The script and dialogue. And so if you ask an agent, well, what's your script for that? Well, you know, and a lot of times they'll give it to you. You notice the most veteran agents have that scripts typically. Team, I'm an individual agent. I have a virtual contract to close. I have a listing coordinator. I use a lot of showing assistants. I'm leveraged because I have a lot more listings than buyers. I mean, really, if you think about 10 listings in 40 days, part of the reason that you focus on listings is because you're more leveraged. A listing takes 20% of the time that a buyer does.
So Trey.
Yes, ma'am.
As a 10, based on your theory earlier that for every listing, you're going to do another listing and a buyer, what are you doing with the buyers?
I refer them to people in my downline, and in the spirit of being transparent, I mean, I really just don't really work on and call them as much as I could because I'm focused on, thank you, my pleasure, because I'm focused on listings, you know, and again, I'm up here teaching so that I can get that. But I'm not serving buyers at the highest level because that's not really my focus.
So if you were following the model based on the number of listings and closings you're having, you're really close to being able to move to the next level, would you say?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's what you intend to do in 2017, 2018?
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
So you have plans of paying your fee?
My next hire is a full-time executive assistant, and yes, I intend to do that within the next 90 days. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Would you say based upon your business model that you cut down because these activities that you do every day yield you buyers? Because buyers do appear out of your listings. Do you think sometime in the next year or so you might hire a buyer's agent so you can just...
You know, in all honesty, at this point, my goal is to go 3 listing appointments a week. That's my focus. And because...
That's the vision.
Yeah, my focus is 3 listing appointments a week. And because, I mean, I have blinders on for that, the stuff that's not part of that, it just is not a priority to me, and it doesn't get the attention that it could get. And I don't say that, I say that in a humble way, you know, because look, everybody in here is trying to grow their business. That's why I'm up here, you know. But I'm working always to be a better version of myself and grow my business the way it should be grown and the way leadership recommends, you know. But right now, my #1 priority is setting listings.
Do you all see Trey Cooper as a rainmaker? Can you see that?
Yes.
Absolutely. Now, all he has to do is see this out.
That will be correct. I received that, and I'm on it. Yeah. But I have not been as intentional about it, but 2 of the buyers that closed last month, I just did 5 listings and 5 closings in 14 days, and 2 of those were closed by an agent in my downline. And I gave him the buyer because I was listing focused. So I was going to pick up the buyers off my list.
So what I'm hearing from you is to be successful, you're trying to focus on certain, because there are so many opportunities for new agents to go around it, too many things coming up.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for the new agents to focus on a couple of things and make it work. Is
You
that
know,
what I'm listening?
So there's always opportunity for all of us to improve. But, you know, in order for you to truly commit to one thing, you have to say no 1,000 times to 1,000 other things. And, you know, listings have been my focus.
It's not this business to the point where you can afford to not take on those buyers. And you're still making...
Well, it's not. I mean, I would love to have a couple more buyer closings. It's not that. It's just like you have, like you. We're all. I'm laser focused on something that's not buyers, and because I'm laser focused, it just hasn't happened. You know, and you can't. You can be focused on multiple things. You can't be laser focused on multiple things.
Can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
I host homebuyer seminars once a month. Well, what it does is made me an expert on first-time homebuyers in this area. I'm consistently getting referrals on first-time homebuyers. Buyers take time. Their price point is $100, $180. I get a $225 first-time homebuyers, whoop whoop. Right? I'm at the point now where I'm trying to focus on listings, and I'm out of the office showing houses and dealing with buyers on a consistent basis. So each of my homebuyer seminars, I normally pick up 2 buyers. I just had somebody that was there that was like, oh my God, we were so impressed. I'm sending you one of my friends. Odds are that's going to be a first-time homebuyers, right? So my focus has been that, and that's what I'm getting. Now I need to shift my focus to listing because that takes less time. I could do more with that. There's only one of me, and there's only 24 hours in a day. So I'm going to have to get to a point where I'm going to have to say, you know what? I'm not picking up this buyer. I'm going to go ahead and split it or send it down to somebody in my downline. And even if we're working together, then that works. That gives me time to focus on listings. I'm telling you, I took both, but you focus on expense. When Regina was my fertility coach and said, you need to focus on capping, next thing I know, I capped. Right? I mean, it's true. So that's smart because buyers just, they take time. And in this market, you might have to put in 3-4 contracts. Even if you're good at what you're doing, you put the special steps in there, you still can get outbeat because you got cash buyers out there.
Huh? Right here? Right here?
Can you just flip the triangle?
The distance right here?
It'll be upside down, won't it?
Reverse
it to the other side.
This is where distance should be.
Leads should be done. Leads at the bottom, listings to the left, leverage to the right. Who in the room is a KW agent? Is there anyone in here that's not a KW agent?
And one of the other things that I would say too, as it relates to buyers, when you're listing focused, your calendar is listing focused. You know, like you asked me before, so I'm making calls in the mornings, and then in the afternoons I'm on appointments. So if I take a buyer, that messes up like my whole calendar. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not that I'm trying to be any kind of way. It's just that I'm listing focused and I'm doing my best to stick to my calendar. And a buyer is a distraction from my calendar and my business at this time. So now we're gonna, in closing, we look at the Keller Williams. This is the triangle that's in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book of how we all grow our team and grow our business. And it's basically leads, listings, and leverage. That's how you grow your business. And I'm just having to focus on listings. So when you have to lead generate, then you get a lot of listings, and the two of those cause you to need leverage in the form of a buyer's agent and an executive assistant. And that's how you grow your team.
And you notice there's not a section for buyers. So if you're really a KW agent, you wanted to follow the KW model that's proven systems that says if you choose to be a millionaire real estate agent, this is how you do it. It baffles me why people want to recreate the model. Focus on your leads to lead to listings such that you can have leverage to run a successful real estate company within KW. It's a beautiful thing.
Listings are the heartbeat of a successful real estate business. You list to last. I've heard that. Everybody's heard that. And it is so true. If you have a real estate business with no listings, that's like having a car lot, no cars. The people on your team.
Yeah, but they teach everyone to just go to listings.
Everybody's not going to be a Raymond. Everybody's not going to be a lead agent. You know, and it's not everybody's goal to, and that's cool. There's a place for everyone.
Great news is you're creating opportunities for other people.
Correct.
That may not be able to do that for themselves.
Correct.
Still making money on it.
Correct. Yeah. Hey, well, thank you, everyone for coming. Regina, it's not going to be the same in Atlanta without you. We love you.
Listen, Trey, we just did a road trip to Charlotte.
We're going to have to do a road trip.
Valentine is awesome.
We love you so
I used to live up there. Just go with my
Can you guys please give him one more hand? Before you all leave, there's a homework assignment that you're required to do, okay?
And can we have 3 ahas from today's class, please? Yes, ma'am.
My listing for life.
Of course.
I've never heard that before. I love it.
Of course. And mean it. I owe it to that house to keep sending these postcards. Yes, ma'am.
Go the day up, like don't wait. Usually I do mine, maybe Thursday or Saturday, but go get them like immediately.
If they want to see you, I can't tell you this year how many times I've gotten a phone call, I've gone that night, they signed that night, I put a sign in the yard that night. That all happened within 3 hours.
But that doesn't make it seem like you don't got nothing to do because you just drop what you got going on and you go that day.
It makes you don't care how busy I am and how important I am. It makes you feel like you're a VIP client to me, and you are. Because you know when you come meet me that I'm a busy person. And you also know with me being that busy, I showed up at your house 3 hours after you called me. Yes, sir.
I recognize when it's time to close. Don't get stuck in there. I'm sorry I'm not making my presentation yet. Yeah, that was really spot on and not overthinking the whole process.
You're there to get the listing. Secure the business. Don't get the business. Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't take an hour for everybody. It doesn't. And understand, like some people want to sign paperwork. That's why they brought you up. Some people want to sign in the yard. Understand what they want from you and give it to them. Aha.
Be comfortable with the silent call.
That is so true. When you ask amateurs make statements, the veterans ask dynamic questions. When you ask dynamic questions, it's going to be followed by 3-4 seconds of silence. And the first person that speaks loses. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Says, I would not be a group realtor if I didn't ask who you know that wants to buy or sell. I like that.
True story. I got a lead from my mother like that. First time I took ball. First time I took ball. My mom talked to me she lives right here in Georgia. My mom talked every day. My mom talked to me every single day. And then I was taking hold. I started asking everybody. I wouldn't be a good realtor if I didn't ask you who you know needs to buy or sell a house. My mother, I said that I was on the phone with her. She was getting ready to get off the phone and said, "Oh, hey, I wouldn't be a good realtor if I didn't ask who do you know that needs to buy or sell a house right now?" She said, "You need to call your uncle. You need to think about putting this house on the market." I called him. I took the listing. And my mom thinking, "Mama, you talk to me every day. Why wouldn't you tell me?" But it's not their job to give you business. It's your job to ask them for business. And if you haven't asked them for business, you can't be mad if they haven't given you anything. Yeah.
So here's your homework, and if you have one, I just want to make sure before everybody starts leaving that. Your homework right now is, are you ready to have a touch? One touch today to your database. Whether it be on social media or through your email. Are you ready to do that today? Because I can help you. Yeah. You are. All right, everybody come up to the front. Let's take a picture. And then your touch is going to be surrounded by your listing class that you've taken today. And you're going to ask that question directly, right? You're going to do a call to action with this photo that is going to be shared with you all.
Oh, you know it's not like that.
Yeah, you gotta get tight. All right, the short ones in the front, tall ones in the back. You guys know the routine. Tight. You gotta get tight, maybe 3 rows.
She gonna take it right here?
Yes, and who in the room needs a referral?
I do.
That's coming from North Carolina.
Oh, I live there, so give it to me.
Okay,
I
so
got it.
if you ever
I
want a
have family
referral
over here.
before you leave, I need your card. And there's one more thing that I'm gonna need you to do. And that's to connect with me on LinkedIn, not Facebook, LinkedIn. Why LinkedIn? It's our business, right? You wanna represent business-wise. Okay, so we're gonna have to cut in a little bit more. I'll tell you what, let's do like 6 chairs up front, okay?
Yeah, I was gonna say something.
Sit some people down so we can get a little bit tighter.
Okay. No, somebody else can sit down right here. Come in like we're family.
Hey, scoot those down a little bit.
Slide this down now. It's when you're down.
Big break.
Break. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. All right, now.
Almost.
You keep on to the one. So you're over here for minutes, but they're not too wide. Too wide over there? Okay. Make it do what it do.
Excuse me.
Come on, 2 people sit right here. Okay, now you guys bring that in.
Okay, so I'm gonna put one lane in the light, that's right.
You should lay in front of them.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, you're beautiful, and I know you. I don't know you, but I know you. Yeah. Okay, so you gonna tippy toe it? Because that's the only way I'm gonna be able to see. Okay, and then I need you to come right there. That's perfect. Okay, now you guys come in behind her a little bit closer.
Just scoot in as close as
There you
possible.
go. Yeah. Now this, you can't lean your head with the bun. You can't lean your head just straight up, but come in this way a little bit more, right? Right there. Perfect. Perfect. Up on your toes. Fantastic. Perfect. How you use this?
Everybody get on the chair.
Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, give me one more. Oh wait, we got somebody want to get their hair done. Perfect. All right, here's how you get the photo. Your LinkedIn request. As soon as you send it to me, I'll send you. Make sure you send me your contact number where you want it forwarded to you, and I will send you the photo. What are we talking about in your ad today? Yeah. Who do you know? I need to sell right now. Who do you know? I need to sell right now. Okay.
So if anybody wants to call out.
And the referrals. Leave it alone. Oh, I should tell y'all that, right?
Yes, no,
Gina Pope. Yep. Gina Pope. P-O-L-K. Listen, next year.
Yeah, we had to go through it sometime.
Dress on the back.
We're already connected on LinkedIn.
I remember your face because I saw you. Did you just say that you were trying with that on Facebook? No, okay. Is it? Oh, okay.
Let's not give you all.
All right.
Not to be the retriever. So, giving you cards now. How is it?
On a touch campaign. Have to.
So, here's what I always do. I never ever get cards. What I do is I always
What else is in there?
you can reach out. Oh, I'm in. Where are you?
Are you guys this house?
Huh?
You guys this house?
I'm out of this house, but some of my buyers, got all the buyers all the way out there. I got everybody else. So, I
get to see her.
It's just that Brian is
Since then I stopped showing houses.
I put the gift card inside and I wrote in the card. Okay. But I just left it open. You can write on the front. Okay. And they told me to leave the receipt for the gift card from the store in case, because when it activated, just to make sure in case there was an issue. Oh. So I left the little receipt in there, yeah. Oh, they mailed it, okay. So she asked me and all, I didn't want to tell her, I don't know, because where you think that she would have been like, what?
Yeah, I just can't imagine.
Absolutely.
I can't believe that whole thing is still like, I'm like, really? Yes, it's crazy. Mayo? No. I'll think of it. That's it. My first transaction was this thing. I mean, that was like
You got that one invested for
get that done. Well, yeah, and so they're dealing with a lot of buyers and investors. They're buying, but they're wasting a lot of time. They want to date in. Right. Like something as solid as
I think many people are already friends.
You have a good one.
It's not you. It's not you.
It's too much. No. It's too much time left. Change. Because it just went on the country.
Which office? Yes.
When they call, because I'm sure it says you call or says or something, they still call you. You know, it's right there. I started, I signed it.
You ever seen that?
No. Like I have to do all this extra. Yeah, it is. I gotta double check.
Good to see you again. I saw you a little earlier this year.
Because I think I've been
Yeah.
I took this class a couple weeks ago.
Some travel with it.
It was minimal. Was it worth it? Did it add value to your business?
Okay, so you're as a friend.
Listings are truly your residence. Always something. Been there, done that. Since spring. I'm originally from hopefully it'll work out next time. Oh man.
What do you want to
You too.
She's interested in the townhouses and all that, so over there.
It's weighing off, but I really appreciate it. You're welcome.
Really?
Let's go down the home.
I'm gonna call the agent today. mean, it's a slim
Right.
market.
So I'm send them an email. Hey, thank you for
Yeah, and I was surprised to see it again. So I checked.
Oh, wow.
I was surprised.
I mean, I think that for me, whenever I get.
They're still doing it?
I know I have like a number of folks that have like meetings coming up that we starting fresh with people. That's when our 40 days will start. 23rd to the end of August. Right. You just gotta go on 15 steps. It's only right.
Get a reach. Yeah.
Are we going,
Door knocking with tomorrow? When did we say? Wednesday? Yes, we did. My apologies. And I completely booked my schedule without, tomorrow. Okay, all right. Yeah. It's worth it, of course, but those 8 weeks that you sit there and suffer through, when is it start? Have you taken the 12 bar yet?
Has anybody been in realist like the last hour or so?
It's shut, it's not working.
Oh, okay.
But try again, because they let me back in. I'm gonna give you every objection I can. You know I'll be here. Where's the location? I've been to 3 different locations.
Maya, you know me, you have like my number.
Are you going to go again?
That's
okay.
I mean,
To be totally transparent, I had this goal. It didn't work.
That's how I usually. I miss sessions every time I go. Yeah.
Right, that's the one we're here for.
You know, on average, her second drive net, I don't know, 20% more or whatever.
Whole chain of life.
It would change to do it now. I thought we were already taking care of it.
You know what?
Next time you gotta convince them why they need to do it now. Right?
That's funny.
Yeah. I didn't like that. So guess
So we gotta figure out, so I got my goal for the next month.
I'm gonna call you. Yeah, I know.
So you're talking to them again and who's
I'll tell you.
No, good. Thank you.
He just needs an office. He needs an office. I would watch.
to listen to 40 days. And I'm gonna kill things over here. I'm so 16. I'm like, you leaving? I know. Don't wait till years. I'm a bikini girl.
Oh, okay.
You doing it?
Yeah, I'll be there. I got twice a month.
Okay, all right.
Probably don't work right now.
I remember. I'll call you both tonight. Trey. Love you. It's good seeing you guys.
And that's why it's there.
Okay, so the everything's good, but there's nowhere I can get blind. Like blindsided, like you said. So the only thing that
He goes exactly to that level. So if you're then high already, like he's hard. But if you're like for me, he's hard, he's soft at the same time.
Listings are the most important thing in your real estate business.
Pushes you to the level that you want. Yes.
No, you're not.
And he's so good, like, he doesn't even have to plan what he's going to do. And whatever's not going on, he goes and he goes. I'm like,
Everybody's for a year or so, they really work for all buyers. You know, but it's most of the time. But it's possible. It's always at least 50% buyers like this. And everybody here is kind of good to do some deals, post some deals, listings are more expensive. Like, if I take a listing today, they're like stage or needs to go out there next week, photo, sign, lot.
Yeah, good luck.
How about this Friday?
Congrats.
That's how she felt. You feel somebody going for 5 days, and it's just because her husband wasn't even there. Like, she just don't feel overwhelmed. But to them, they're like, oh, this means we're ready to lose.